Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in a race with time. I put my life on the record, always giving it effort at night. I'm always restless, this music's a life sentence. Perfecting my craft in seconds, the essences of the earth. Used to make the world turn, people earn was not deserved. While the weak get knocked down, got people losing their health. This evil's making me mad, I hope I make my father proud. Devote my life to writing raps, I hope I'm on the right path. Spending years of my life that I could never take back. So nod your head to the beat, if you ever had a dream. And everybody else around you just never seemed to believe. That sound exactly like me, I was right in your position. So listen close what I'm saying, don't ever give up your visions on the real. Never saw people doubted I would make it this far, but I'm proving them wrong. Everybody criticized and they hated on me, but I just stay strong. And no matter what I heard them tell me, it didn't change my mind. I'm still pushing on, breaking hearts, hey, I'm in a race with time.
That song is getting catchier. I swear,
I
it's
know.
getting catchier with each episode. Good choice, Sean. Good.
Thank you.
This is episode 4 of the Gridiron Podcast. I'm Nick Shook. That is Sean Berry. And in the middle, as usual, Katie Caldwell. We are back for another episode. Been a couple of weeks because, well, the F1 race got canceled.
Yeah, it wasn't our fault.
Yeah, and it's May because and not a lot goes on in the NFL in May. Well, I mean, unless you're in like OTAs and mini camps and you like to listen to players talk about how they're going to be better than ever. You know, we're really close to best shape of your life season right now. We're past chip on the shoulder and we're entering best shape of your life. You're getting the keys to the offense. Every team's going to win the Super Bowl, even if Robert Saleh says only 68 teams are going to win. Every team's going to win the Super Bowl. That's about where we are. It's optimism season. Everybody's happy and excited. We're here to throw cold water on that fire. I'm just kidding. That's not what we're doing, but we are here to recap the news. But first off, folks, a reminder, if you're new to the podcast, if you're tuning in for the first time, we are streaming live on Twitch and on our YouTube page. You can find us on YouTube at Gridiron Pod, and then Twitch. This is my Twitch page, twitch.tv/The Nick Shook. I don't know if we established one for the podcast or not. I think maybe just keeping it here and expanding from there. Maybe that's where we go. Who knows? Maybe we get gigantic and we make our own page and everything. But for now, that's where you can watch and participate. Be sure to jump in the chat and leave your comments. We'll read them.
Unless they're mean, in which case, stay out of there.
Oh, well, then you won't like this, Katie.
Oh,
Kenturby Ducky.
get me out of here. Fire me into the sun.
Big B's coming out swinging tonight, and I like it.
And it's so funny because, like, I've had people tweet that at me, and I was trying to be sincere and talk about how I was sad that it existed because so many horses have died. And then I accidentally said Kenturby Ducky.
So
and now it's a great running joke, but I was talking about something rather serious, which is very rare for me.
I'm streaming on Twitch the other night. And Katie jumps in on the Twitch chat, which I didn't even know Katie had a Twitch. I was very fired up to see that. Very excited. And Big B sees her in the chat and immediately goes, "Oh my God, Kenturby Ducky."
The legend lives on. You know what? Screw it. This has been episode 4 of the Gridiron Podcast, the last and final episode of the Gridiron Podcast. We are now the Kenturby Ducky Podcast.
Full rebrand.
Where we do
Again,
nothing
for the second time in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so
What a gift.
it is episode. Yeah, it is a gift. Katie, I tell you what.
Just keeps on giving, whether I want it to or not.
Yes. This is episode 4 of the Gridiron Podcast. We're getting into the NFL news right off the bat. Okay. Like I said, it's a sleepy time of the year right now. Okay. Let's face it. We dig deep for content right now. We make mountains out of molehills right now. But there was some news. The owners' meeting happened this week, and they did approve some changes in the rules. It's interesting because the rule change process actually starts in like the winter meeting of sorts. It's not like baseball's winter meetings, but it's a little bit after the Super Bowl. It's usually at a nice resort. This year was in Phoenix, Biltmore, great place. Been there for this. They do it up really well. And they propose rules. And sometimes they're such no-brainers that it pushes right through. Other times they need more time to think about it, even if it makes a lot of sense. Some of those rules came back to the meeting this week. They were tabled earlier. The first one might be the one that angers you two the most. And I understand it. And the league is begrudgingly ceding toward player safety when it comes to the kickoff. They have implemented, approved, basically brought up, elevated, made the leap. The fair catch on kickoffs can take place outside of the end zone. It will put the ball at the 25. So if you're back to return a kick and you're on the 4 and you know you're going to get clobbered, you're going to fair catch it. The downside, guys, and this is probably where you're going to talk about it, this happens all the time in college football. The kick return is essentially non-existent in college football because guys just fair catch it all the time. I mean, I feel like we're, jumping through a hoop. We don't even have to. This is just, performative at this point. So what are your thoughts on this?
I feel like you said, we're one step away from the kickoff not even being necessary, or kind of like we have in baseball now with intentional walks. You don't have to throw 4 straight pitches way outside of the plate to walk a batter. You just have to let the umpire know, hey, we're walking this guy. Next thing we know, refs are going to ask coaches, hey, do you even want to accept this kickoff, or are we just going to do a fair catch? Because it's not going to matter at this point. You just might as well put it at the 25-yard line. And if you accept the kickoff, then you have to try and run it out from wherever, unless, of course, it goes out the back of the end zone. But I don't understand why we're doing this. This is the NFL. It's supposed to be harder. It's supposed to be more difficult. You have to get 2 feet in bounds for a catch instead of 1. You have to, there's so many different rules that make the NFL better, more challenging, and tougher than college football. I don't know why now we're starting to take a page out of the college football playbook in the NFL.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I feel like it's diluting I don't want to say integrity of the game. I know that sounds really cliche, but it feels like they're moving closer towards just eliminating kickoffs, and it's such a big and exciting part of the game. And I understand that you want to make the game safer, of course. The NFL pretends to care about player safety. You want to actually make the game safer? Mandate real grass, not artificial turf. It is secret that artificial turf is significantly harder on your body than grass. You want to make it safer? Eliminate Thursday night football games, or schedule them according to...
You're not going to like how this is produced.
Double or triple them. How about that? Double or triple the number of Thursday night games we have.
Exactly. Or schedule them according to the team's bye week. Like, there are ways that you can do it. It's so frustrating because we all know there are tangible changes that could be made to make the game safer. NFL players aren't dumb. NFL fans aren't dumb. Don't bullshit us. But it's example number 40,000 of money talks with this. It's not about player safety. It's about the optics of player safety. And we'll get into the flexing of Thursday night. It's so contradictory, and it's so ironic that these both come in at the same time.
And I don't understand the move too, because Nick, you're from Cleveland. What position did Josh Cribbs play?
Kick returner. He's punt returner, kick.
Do you remember him as a wide receiver? No.
A little bit. But...
What about Devin Hester? Do we remember him as an amazing wide receiver? No. You remember him as a kick returner. All of these, it's a position that coaches and GMs have to account for, because if you have a good one, that can change the game. It doesn't have to be a kickoff return for a touchdown or a punt return for a touchdown. It just has to be, he gets you those extra yards. He gives you that little bit of momentum going into your offensive drive. It's a position that matters, and they're all but eliminating it with this rule.
Exactly. I hate to rain on your parade, Sean, but we can't have our cake and eat it too. We're either going to talk player safety and turn toward player safety and push in that direction, or we're going to say, screw it, we like the excitement of the game. Statistically, concussions, a vast majority, well, not a vast majority, but a large portion of them occur on the kickoff, because these players are traveling 20, 30 yards and crashing into each other. We've seen the kickoff tinkered with a lot over the last decade. There used to be the wedge and wedge busting, which is, when I'm not kidding you, when I played football, they would teach you 2 guys in the center of the kick return group would hold hands and run back together and then run forward so that they would stay together and create sort of a wedge. And then on your kick coverage team, you had one guy who was nuts, who would just fly in there with reckless abandon. And he was the wedge buster to try and break that up and create an opportunity for people, the players to tackle the returner. That's gone. That's been gone for a while because of player safety. When I was young, we used to have bull in the ring. By the time I was done, bull in the half ring wasn't even allowed anymore, which I don't even know if you know what bull in the ring is. It's when everybody stands in a circle and one guy's in the middle. Everyone's fully padded, and a coach just shouts out a name or a number, and you have to figure out where that guy is, and he just runs at you full sprint, and you have to hit him and stay up. I mean, guys get destroyed. I think it was in the Junction Boys. You could see a scene of them.
That was in the opening scene of Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I mean, and I did Bull in the Ring as a kid. These are all things that have been taken out of the game, more focus on player safety, and more importantly than anything, focusing on protecting players from concussions, because we know what, head trauma does now. We've got a lot of research in the last decade. They're trying to move in that direction. The biggest issue, though, is I said you can't have your cake and eat it too. There may be a compromise, and I think the compromise exists in the XFL, which Big B actually brought up.
Thank you. Yes,
that was
my next point. Glad we're on the
well,
same
then
page here,
discuss.
I like the XFL rule where you cannot move. What are they lined up 15 yards apart, the special teams units, and then once the ball is finally caught by the returner, that is when they are allowed to start moving on the line. I like that rule. That way you're not running full speed down the field and you don't have 30 or 40 yards before you finally make full contact with another grown man. You have 10, 15 yards to get up to speed. I mean, it's still a violent sport. It's always going to be. You can't get rid of it. But that step makes it a little bit safer. It gives you that result you want of safety, but also keeps the excitement of a kickoff return or a punt return for a touchdown in play.
There are ways you can make it safer. I just wish they would be more consistent with it when there are obvious changes that they could make. Like I talked about TNF, when you have guys that have 3 days of rest, that's just not healthy to go out there and play. And all of the players have talked about it. It's no secret that the players hate Thursday night football. It's just frustrating that they keep making all these changes in the name of player safety. So go all in. Actually make it safer for the players then.
You know what also is really safe? When guys are coming off, a Monday night football game and then they've got a game in Munich, Germany.
Oh my God.
Next Sunday. Or Frankfurt.
Just wait till we get
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or wherever.
Hypersonic flights. And we're having a team in London and a team in Munich. And they're playing the teams in the contiguous 48 of the United States. That's coming, man. To 10 years from now, I bet you that happens. By the way, the what I said Big B reference was actually wrong. Big B referenced one of the most brutal things in organized sports in the last 25 years, which is when the XFL started games with a scrum. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When they used to line up, one guy from each team would go out there and the ball would be on the field. They had to sprint down there and wrestle each other for the football. You know why they stopped doing that during that one season in which the XFL existed? Because the guy broke his arm doing that. Okay.
I think a couple guys blew out ACLs too while trying to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many injuries.
So sorry, Big B. But Big B also said, Katie, don't take away his Thursday night games.
So then schedule your bye weeks in a different way then. Like, I know it makes it more complicated, but
I think there's a way to do. Can we move on to Thursday night then? Can we move
Yeah,
on
this
to
is a good
Thursday night
transition. Good segue.
So, now the NFL adopted, only 8 teams voted against it, where you can flex Thursday night games, and teams were already getting now 2 Thursday night games. You could now get a third or a fourth.
You get a Thursday game. You get a Thursday game.
It's
Everybody
insane.
Gets.
And I'm all for getting teams on primetime more often, but just at what cost? Like I know Amazon Prime was hurting because the games last year on Thursday night were atrocious. I don't know what the adjective Al Michaels used was several times, but yeah, the games were terrible. This isn't going to make them any better. You still have teams coming off 3 days of rest, like you said, Katie. They don't want to play Thursday night. It's a hard game to get up for and give 100% in week 13, 14, and 15.
Allow me to defend my employer because I am a company man. They have to give them the owners didn't really want to do this, allowing them to flex Thursday games, Sunday games to Thursday. The owners did put up a fight. The players union put up a fight because Thursday games, as you said, are already a hassle. They're a hurdle. It's tough to come out and play well on Thursday. And oftentimes you see those blowouts because one team has the benefit of being the home team or having, maybe an extra day or whatever it is between these games. They tried hard to at least voice their concerns. And I think that there was significant concessions made but still pushing this through, which is that 28 days notice. You have to have 4 weeks notice of your game being flexed. It can only be done twice a year, weeks 13 to 17. It's a month range in which they know that the most important games that they know people want to see are going to be, potentially flexed in there. And you can only do it twice a season. So, but I get it. I have a
question. for the company man, what percentage of the NFL is owned by Amazon now?
None. We didn't sell.
I thought the Amazon bought like 49% of the NFL like 2 years ago.
No. They wanted to buy 49% of NFL Network, and that never happened.
Oh, well, then I rescind my point.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm man enough to know when I'm wrong.
All right. So next rule change on the list. Third and final significant rule change. Everybody, you want to talk about the no-brainers? This was the no-brainer. Anybody who watched the NFC Championship game last year knows exactly what the NFL should have done. Why this never should have gone away in the first place. I personally think roster gymnastics on their own are stupid. If you can have 53 guys on a team, you should be able to dress 53 guys. You shouldn't have to have 7 inactives every week. Oh, you get down to 46 for game day. For what reason? What is the point of that? To make things more difficult? Why? It's already difficult to field a team with the salary cap restrictions and everything else. In the NFC title game, would you guys like to remind the listeners and the viewers on Twitch and YouTube what happened in that game?
Oh, nothing good. It's really hard to watch.
Nothing good. What? So Brock Purdy goes down like what, first drive of the game, something like that, first quarter. Who came? Did they try to get? Who
was Christian McCaffrey?
Okay.
After Brock Purdy, who was there?
All right. So
I don't remember.
Yeah, Nick, we need your help with this.
Yeah,
I just remember it was chaos.
Because you can only dress 2 quarterbacks.
Right.
I mean, technically you could dress a third, but then you'd have to sacrifice another roster spot. They went with Purdy as a starter. Well-traveled veteran Josh Johnson was the backup. Purdy goes down with the elbow injury, the UCL injury. Josh Johnson comes in, suffers a concussion. They have no quarterback left. They have no quarterback left. Christian McCaffrey is your emergency quarterback, which honestly, in hindsight, actually, even in the moment, I was tweeting about it. And in hindsight, you should have just tried him out there, because then they put Purdy back in, who cannot throw more than 3 yards because he has a torn ligament in his elbow, and he just has to hand the ball off for the rest of the game. If you had a third quarterback dressed that didn't count against your roster spot, one of the other 7 guys, 46 plus 7, 53, math. I'm not good at it, but that's pretty simple. One of those 7 guys could be the third quarterback, not active, but dressed and can come in an emergency situation. You don't have that problem. And that's what they are, they sought to remedy. And I think they did. So we'll see how quickly it comes to fruition, because that wasn't the only time something like that happened.
It was giving me oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, Katie, back me up on this one. I think what the NFL should have done, instead of allowing teams to dress a third quarterback, is copy the NHL, have an e-bug, have an emergency backup quarterback somewhere in the stands. He's an accountant, Monday to Friday, and then on Sundays you bring him in. Maybe he played NAIA football in Missouri. You don't know, but he's your e-bug. He's your emergency backup quarterback. Just bring him on in.
The Zamboni driver comes in. That was so... hockey is so great for many. It's also really bad for many reasons. But watching that 49ers game totally gave me flashbacks of when the Denver Broncos just started a game without a quarterback. And I know it was different because their whole quarterback room got COVID. But they were just like snapping the ball. Was it to Kendall Hinton? Was that right?
It was Kendall Hinton. Yep.
Just to whomever goes back there. And it's like, ooh, I wonder what plays they're going to be calling. But I remember watching that game like, there's no way this is actually going to go ahead. And it did. It'll always be in the back of my mind. That was one of the crazier games I've ever seen.
2020 was a weird year.
It was a weird time.
Weird times to be alive, man.
You guys want to know how Kendall Hinton did in that moment, statistically speaking?
Yes.
All right. So Kendall Hinton entered the NFL as a wide receiver, undrafted out of Wake Forest. He attempted 9 passes in that game. He completed how many?
I'm going to say 4.
Katie?
1.
Correct. Katie is the winner.
I thought I remembered 1.
He threw 2 interceptions and finished with a stellar passer rating of...
Sean?
0. No. Are we gonna do this, Sean, or are you just gonna ignore me here?
Oh, I thought you were reading off his stats. Why am I guessing? You have them in front of you.
No, 0. Passer rating was 0.0.
Same as mine.
I remember after the game too, the Broncos tweeted out they were like, the final score is what it is, but someone went out there and really competed their butts off today. I'm just like, all right, now's not the time to be, blowing smoke up the butt of your emergency quarterback. Maybe you'd be like, hey, Drew Lock, don't come here with COVID.
Yep.
That's good advice.
Yep. So that's why we have a third quarterback now, so that we can do things like that, right? So these are good rule changes for the most part, I think. I mean, you could
Mason Rudolph Redemption Tour.
Oh, God.
I would love to watch that.
Gross. The final NFL tidbit before we can move on from the sleepy period of the year. Guys, I hate to bring him up because we are very tired of talking about him, but he is all the rage in the Big Apple and beyond. That is Aaron Rodgers, who had his first OTA with the Jets this week, and he didn't make it out of warmups. Aaron Rodgers suffered a calf strain. Suffered a calf strain in warmups, and not much to say beyond that. He watched the rest of practice, and everybody on Twitter freaked out. Oh, Rodgers is hurt. He's favoring his leg. It's clearly an issue. He'll be fine, right?
Is this what Zach Wilson had in mind when he talked about making someone's life hell? Like, do we have like photographic evidence of like Zach Wilson just hiding behind, a blocking dummy going,
How? Do that again. Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
Just cut that, make that a sound. That'll be our transition sound.
Good.
We have the F1 transition sound. That's our NFL transition sound.
Perfect.
All right. I mean, we already have the Florida man drop, so I was actually going to transition to something there, and I could. Oh, you know what? Here it is. How much you talk about making your life hell? How hellacious can your life be with a calf strain? Seriously, like, what does it hurt to go upstairs? Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Nuisances caused around the house and in daily life by a calf strain.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers probably does like yoga and meditation, so like the whole bending of the extremities might be difficult for him right now. To Aaron Rodgers, it probably makes a big difference.
I feel like I should be excluded from this conversation simply because I'm your elder, and there's a lot of days where I just sleep weird and I wake up and everything hurts for a week.
Whoa, Katie, I played more than a decade of contact sports. I am hurting too.
Well, I have age on my side as well. Like there's days where I sleep weird on my neck, and then I wake up and I'm like, well, I guess I can't move today.
Yeah,
because I slept weird.
Yeah, that happens to all of us, I think.
When I sleep on the couch, yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be in bed with a memory foam pillow, and I'll still wake up and be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened. I got hit by a truck in my sleep last night." Another thing I was thinking of, reaching up to grab something on a top shelf in the kitchen, jumping rope if that's your fancy. I don't know. It's not news. It's not news. Who cares? I'm tired of this period.
I'm so sick of talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he is going to make sure that you talk about him, whether it's a calf strain or a darkness retreat or some sort of psychedelic that he's on. You are going to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
I know, and I just hate that for us. I hate that for me. I'm very open that I'm not the hugest fan of Aaron Rodgers, and it feels like no matter what, every single podcast, he just has to slink his name into there.
Yeah, it's true. And all right, I'm just going to do it again for him. I hate also how he's talking about how he's so refreshed and I don't hate that. It's just like fake. Like you've been a malcontent for years, and all of a sudden you got your wish, and you're like, "Oh, I love it here. Everything's great. Oh, I'm the new guy." I'm like, you walk into the office and like, "Hey, Aaron, welcome to the team." And he's like, "I'm so happy to be here, guys. Is this my cubicle? All right. See you in the break room. Pizza on Fridays. Casual Fridays.
Mr. Positivity, Aaron Rodgers.
Denise, nice to meet you. It's your birthday? Oh, Sagittarius, I thought so.
Wednesdays, am I right?
We're having cake in the boardroom after. It's her birthday.
Oh my God. Like that's who he is. You can't go from being I don't even know how to describe him. Like a jackass.
He just looked miserable. He was glaring at his receivers when he would make a bad pass and they didn't catch it. And just the death stare he would give them. It's like, get over yourself, man.
I mean, I get it. You're stuck in Green Bay, Wisconsin for like 15 years. Like, I understand why your bad days may be worse, but
that's a really good point.
No offense to the city of Green Bay. I'm sure it's a lovely city, but at the same time, like New York, Green Bay, there's reasons he went to New York. There you go. I said this, Club Fantasy FFL. I said this months ago, that he wants to go to New York because the eyes of the world will be on him. More media than ever will be on him. That could be both a blessing and a curse. But when you're Aaron Rodgers, you just love the limelight as much as he says he hates it.
Do you
As
want to
much
read
as he
out the
says-
quote from Club Fantasy FFL just for the audio listeners?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
sorry.
John,
I
go
forget
ahead.
sometimes. Club Fantasy FFL says, that's why Rodgers went to New York. He'll get all the media coverage. Ha ha.
Sean, he even got a haircut. Did you see that? The long hair
Is
everything.
gone.
He cleaned up. He's a man of the big city now, Sean. He hasn't been this clean cut since his days in Berkeley.
For the love of God, can we stop talking about Aaron Rodgers, please?
How about this? Let's just
I'm just-
rebrand Kenturby Ducky, the We Hate Aaron Rodgers podcast. How
I'm
about
just waiting for, I don't know, I'm just waiting for him to get knocked on his ass one day. And then
that
the
happens
back
to most
page
quarterbacks.
of the New York Post is like, Rodgers sucks. Like, that's just the headline.
Well, Big B already hates him, so we're
I mean,
among
you don't
good
blame me. You're
company.
a Packers fan.
Yeah, he is. He is. All right, let's transition. But before we do, it's break time. Cake in the break room.
Happy birthday, Denise.
Everybody gather. We're going to play a fun game. It's called Do You Even Know?
Do you even know? Sean.
Sean.
Do you even know?
Do you even know?
It's my turn this
John,
week. I'm
It's
excited.
your turn.
No,
I'm
he's,
excited.
he pushed it. He's that's fake excitement. I know Sean doesn't.
No,
want to
no,
play.
no. And for those of
I
you that are just
dunce.
tuning in for the first time, this is a game we play in the middle of our podcast where Katie and Nick are going to ask me a set of questions about a specific sport. I have no idea what the topic is. I have no idea what the sport is. So I'm going into this completely blind. So it's a true test of your sports knowledge, I guess.
Okay, let me kick this one off, Sean. Today
All
we
right.
are talking about the National Basketball Association.
Oh, sure. Nick, this was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, duh. You grilled me on hockey. You think I was
Ah.
going to come back around and get you?
Damn.
Duh.
All right.
You guys grilled me on football, which was super unfair because it was questions from like the 1900s that I
You-
didn't know.
covered football.
I've never covered football. I've covered
Well,
hockey.
I thought you were.
No,
you
I
work
just
for the Chargers.
Well, with Galvanize, I do rookie mini camps, but we actually don't
Okay.
talk about football.
Nice.
We'll
Okay.
explain that another day.
My
Okay, we are
apologies.
talking basketball. So, Sean, which team did Shaquille O'Neal officially retire with?
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, he's wrong.
Ah.
Shaq officially retired in 2011 with his final team being the Boston Celtics.
Oh, I thought he played for the Celtics before he went to
Magic,
Cleveland.
Lakers, Heat, Suns, Cavs, Celtics.
I thought
Boom.
he went to the Celtics, then the Cavs.
Unfortunately,
Johnny-
you're super wrong, Sean.
What?
Do you know
Thanks.
why he retired, Sean?
'Cause he couldn't hit a free throw, couldn't get up and down the court. I don't know, a myriad of reasons.
Oh, it was largely injuries, but I guess you're kind of in the ballpark. All right, next question here in the game we all love and call
Even now.
Sean. What team began its existence in the Buckeye State, but in the opposite corner of Cleveland? And your hint is they were known then as the Cincinnati Royals. 10 seconds on the clock.
The easy answer is the Kings.
Oh, he got it. He got it. Royals to
Wait,
Kings.
Am I right?
But where are the Kings located?
Sacramento.
Okay, all right, there we go, Sean. 1 for 2. All right.
I was second guessing myself. I'm like, they want me to say Kings. They want me to say Kings, but like it's gonna be like the Suns or something.
Well, I mean, I expected Katie to know that the Portsmouth Spartans were the Detroit Lions, so I guess I was a little too soft on them. Sorry, Katie.
Yeah, that was really
All
debilitating.
right, you got to bring the hammer here.
Okay. What is the most points that Michael Jordan ever scored during a single NBA game? Hint, it was against the Cleveland Cavaliers
this
on
is-
March 28th, 1990.
All right, so this is like kind of unfair because obviously Wilt has the record at 100, but like there's 99 possibilities between that. Well, Michael Jordan scored.
I thought this one was pretty notable. This was a nice game he had.
I know that's what I'm thinking too. Like I should know this because it's Michael Jordan. I know it's not astronomically high. Like it's not insanely high. I'm sure I've heard the number before.
I'm sure you have.
Is it okay? Can I guess a range and then
No.
pick my
Just pick a number.
No.
Move it. We got to move.
54.
No, it is 69 points. And I even gave you a little hint by saying he had a nice little game.
Yeah.
No,
Nice.
you didn't emphasize.
Nice
Enough. Yeah.
Nice.
Bonus question, Sean, and recency might help you here. Donovan Mitchell set the Cavaliers single game scoring record this season. How many points did he finish with
no one
in
watches
that game?
The Cavs outside of Northeast Ohio.
Wow, 71. Which was only
cool.
2 more than the Knights of 69. See,
that's
okay,
why,
right.
I knew Jordan obviously had amazing games, but I'm like, Kobe had that 81-point game. I know, like,
Against
there
the
have been
Raptors.
guys
Ugh.
that have just blown Jordan out of the water. Hint, nice. Yeah, I get it. Club fantasy FFL. I think each time we've only gotten one right. So we're doing a good job of stuff.
Yeah,
each
we're
gotten
all
one
tied
right
with 1 point.
And we learn things. That's the most important thing.
By
humiliation,
far,
and we learn.
Wasn't it really always about the friends we made along the way?
Sure. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. By far, Sean was the one who was most irritated out of the 3 while being quizzed. For sure.
That was excellent.
Sure. Not even close.
I didn't even think about what you guys might ask because I'm like, Nick knows, like, I'm pretty well versed in sports trivia. Like, I don't know why. I don't forget stuff when I learn sports trivia. But, like, you picked the right. Like, you got me. Could not have gone any worse.
Got you good.
We need to make a rule that we can't ask the same person the same category the next time around. Like, you can't just keep gigging me with NBA questions. Okay. You can't keep gigging me with NBA questions.
Okay, this is so great. So Club Fantasy FFL, Joshua's watching. He's really wonderful. So he just chimed in with, somebody please pick bocce ball one of these days. Do you know how relevant and hilarious that is to my life? So every single year, I compete in the Canadian Bocce Championships.
What?
Yes.
You are
Joshua
lying.
doesn't know this.
You are lying.
Nick, you stop right there. I swear on Carl's life, this is real.
Whoa.
So this is our 11th year we've had our team together. It's in Kimberley, my small town. And it turns out that Bocce Nationals in Canada is just this huge drunk fest where it's like 3 days of drinking and everybody dresses up in costumes. Like, our team name is Boats and Hose. And this is my 11th year of team captain. And we dress like sailors and we have really graphic things written on our shirts that I won't talk about. But I haven't been a champion, but I've made it 3 games in on Sunday where I was the semis. So I was really close to being a Canadian bocce champion. So yes, Joshua, we can talk about bocce ball one day.
When is
nachos and lemon heads on Katie's boat? You won't go down because your bocce balls can float.
Anyway, and something else that's good for just the people in general to know. A lot of people call the sport bocce ball, but that's the ball itself. It's actually just called bocce. So we've all learned a lot today. And he chimes in saying, well, I wasn't expecting that response. Most aren't. Most wouldn't be.
Katie, we need a spin-off segment on this podcast at some point where you just teach us about bocce, not bocce ball, bocce, and then maybe I'll give you horseshoes, and then Sean will follow with lawn darts, and we'll just get the whole thing together.
And
that's not to diminish the importance of bocce. It's just I don't know anything about it, like how to play it. I see it at bars sometimes, and I'm like, they're like, how do you do it? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I
play it exactly once a year, and it's in the Canadian Bocce Championships. You don't have to qualify. You can just enter a team. So that's where I will be the 3rd weekend of July. Every 3rd weekend of July, I compete in the Canadian Bocce Champs.
What's your beer pong skills like? How's your game?
Really good. I'm a big liability at most team sports because I didn't do any team sports growing up. I danced for many, many years. But drinking sports, I am electric.
Nick?
Beer pong, flip cup, bring it on.
Let her know, Nick.
No, you let her know.
What was the one night where I think we spent an entire night on the table. Like, we never lost. Like,
oh yeah, that's fairly routine.
Yeah, Nick and I would just absolutely run shit at Kent State University, and it was unfair. It was unfair. We were the '96 Bulls.
I asked that because, like, not having any prep time and just stepping in a championship event environment and just being like, I damn near won the championship. Like, that's the natural talent that only shows up in games like Pong like bocce, like foosball, things like that.
Like
you're naturally talented, Katie.
I was that guy literally like staring people like off the table in the eyes, making a shot just to make a point.
Oh yeah.
That's
do you remember
the energy.
All right, tripping the Wayback Machine, glory days. Here we go. Sean, do you remember the game winner I hit off it was at the old estate?
I was gonna say, yeah, off the side of
there was
like
a wall, like a little divider, like how you go in 2 rooms and there's like a little bit of like a divider in between, like it's like crown molding or whatever it is usually. There was 1 cup left, and it was the ball had bounced back, and the rule in this house was you had to throw it off of the wall or off of that. 1 cup left. I just bank it off the top, drilled it.
I remember.
I was so excited. I jumped up and rolled my ankle.
The best one I got, again, just to keep going down memory lane, is when we were at someone's house. It was the girls' house, and we were playing beer pong.
House.
Everyone that lived there was girls, so I don't remember what we called it. But an ex of mine who was with her new boyfriend, who she left me for him.
Spicy.
I had started to bring around this new girl, and this ex of mine comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, let's play a beer pong game. You and your girl versus me and this dude." I'm just like, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And the girl I was with, she was like, "Let's do it." I was like, oh,
that's who she was. That's exactly who she was.
I was like, oh crap.
She was like, challenge, boom, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I was like,
no matter what it was.
All right, fine. And it came down to like the final cup, and I literally just like stared this girl in the eyes, just and just walked off the table. That honestly might be my greatest athletic accomplishment. Like, I don't care about making states in swimming, winning medals in swimming. Like, I don't care about that. That might have been my greatest athletic accomplishment because it felt the best.
And he never saw her again.
What a way to be like, you'll think of me later. I know you regret your decision. And then just walk out. I also didn't know you were a swimmer. Look, we're learning so much today.
Yes. Point is, Nick and I could run the beer pong table back in the day. I don't know so much about now, but I'd love to find out.
Oh, I cannot wait till we all meet in person and we just run the table on everyone else.
Ooh,
that's what's up.
Fun.
I knew the universe brought us together for a reason.
I'll have a real good time doing that. This has been an extended version of...
Do you even know?
Sean, thanks for playing. You were a good sport. Let's move on to Formula One, where... Well, we didn't have a race last week because there was torrential downpours and it was actually quite serious. And that's part of why we didn't do a podcast, because it was rained out and they moved on. The track was unsuitable for racing. The TV compound area was completely flooded. No race. Sometimes racing takes a backseat to things that are more serious.
I just love the stories that were coming out of the Emilia-Romagna region of Yuki got stuck, and Nick de Vries at some point got stuck, and he wound up at this hotel, and they were like, "We don't have any rooms." And then one of the McLaren, garage guys was like, "Here, you can have my room." And like, it was just, it's just a real circumstance. It's, like you see the best of humanity sometimes when you're in a situation like that, because everyone's just trying to help out everyone else.
Yuki was out there like physically helping, and like when you see stuff like that, it's so much bigger than the sport. And you're right, you do see the best of humanity. There's also moments where you see the worst in humanity, of course, because there's all these people online. And if any of our listeners are these people, I've just been really disappointed, because there was a lot of discourse online about, oh, it's Friday, the track's all clear, and why are they? And it's like, man, get that right out of here. Those takes were so frustrating, because just because the track was clear and maybe you could have physically raced on the track, all of the emergency personnel that needed to obviously be elsewhere would have had to leave their situation and be at the track. It simply wasn't safe whatsoever. They obviously, no question, made the right decision. And I was, for maybe the first time in my life, proud of Formula One for making a decision somewhat promptly.
I mean, was the track dry and drivable? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you said, Nick, the TV compound was flooded. The infield was flooded. How are you going to get people in and out of this racetrack when everything else around the area was flooded? Where were they going to stay? How are you going to feed them? And like you said, where's the emergency personnel going to come from? Because they're right now saving people from flooding in their own towns. How are we going to staff, 1,000, safety personnel, probably more that you need for, a race weekend in F1? How are we going to staff this when they're like literally pulling people and bodies out of these floods? So yeah, it was absolutely the right move. I don't think anyone should blame F1 for it. If you do, get that out of here.
Exactly.
I did enjoy some social media posts where they were like, well, F1's canceled, so I guess we'll watch this. And it was like high speed, intense marble racing. I was like, oh, it's the pandemic. We're back in the panty, baby. It's 2020 all over again. We're all stuck at home watching marble racing and cornhole championships. Yeah.
There was the Indy 500 qualifying. You could watch that. That was fun. No? Okay.
I've never watched any. I'd like to get into Indy. I love James Hinchcliffe. He's a really great analyst. Here's my king.
Here's my take. Watch Indy. The racing is great because it's a spec series. I like what they do different from F1 in terms of how they make it more competitive. Like the rich teams still win, right? But like you still see those smaller guys punching way above their weight. And the Indy 500 is some of the best racing you can find, which is on this Sunday after the Monaco Grand Prix. So it's going to be a great day of racing. You have two of the jewels in the Triple Crown racing on the same day.
Yeah, I will watch it this Sunday. This will be my first one that I've ever watched.
Was that just because Sean said so? Yeah. All right. Not bad.
And McLaren's actually good in IndyCar. McLaren's very good in IndyCar.
That's why Sean watches it, so he can sleep better at night.
A little bit.
Just one single tear comes down his cheek for McLaren F1 team.
Well, speaking of McLaren, they have a new livery for Monaco this week that looks a whole lot like a cigarette.
I don't like it.
That's fine.
I don't like it. If you can you throw up a picture of it, Nick? So McLaren decided to go with a not a throwback livery, but like a one-off livery for the Monaco Grand Prix, celebrating that they are, I think, the only team in F1 that has won the Triple Crown of racing, that being the Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So they've taken the color of those three race-winning cars and fused it into one car. So the orange is from their Indy 500 win. The white is from their Monaco win back in '84 with Alain Prost. That iconic 1980s Marlboro.
Yeah, white and red.
Yeah, that McLaren car. And then the black is from the all-black McLaren that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1995. I get what they were trying to do. It doesn't look good, though. With Google Chrome and views sprawled across the side, it just doesn't look good.
One could say it looks very bad.
I don't like it, and everyone seems to love this. And I'm like, I love the idea behind it, but I don't like the car itself. Like when they went to that Golf livery 2 years ago, Monaco, that might have been the greatest one-off livery in the history of F1. Tough to top that, but this is as mid as it gets.
Mid? Oh no.
This is as mid as it gets from McLaren. And I mean, McLaren is pretty mid as is.
Sean, I don't know how you don't see this. That's what it is. It's a lit cigarette. Like that's what it is. How do you not see that?
See, this is why you have to stream it on YouTube or Twitch, because...
Oh my God. There's the Twitter clip that I'm posting. McLaren, a lit cigarette.
Like, my God. I actually like it. I think it looks fine. I just think it looks like a cigarette. But, crazier things have happened. Anyway, that was just the one thing that jumped out to me immediately when talking about Monaco. Race-wise, I mean, F1's kind of sleepy right now, okay? Like, I expect one of the Red Bulls to win quali, but maybe Ferrari makes a run. Maybe Aston Martin makes a run. But I mean, this is not a place for, they say every track, oh, it's really difficult to overtake here. It's actually legitimately difficult to overtake in Monaco because it's a street circuit. It's narrow.
Impossible.
There's basically nowhere to pass somebody. Like it's tough. Okay. It's the most important quality of the year. Ask Charles Leclerc. He wins quality and then gearbox. And we're not going to go down that road. So I don't know if we could go to the previews and we'll do that later in the show, actually sooner than we probably think. But I think there's other questions to ask, like in the macro view of F1 right now, because like Red Bull's pretty much in command right now, and we're more about the midfield and everything else. But there's intrigue elsewhere, right? There's Mercedes still struggling to get their car developed and make it competitive. There's at times where they've raced really well, but it's still you're third, fourth. Like you're not battling with Red Bull. You're not even making a run at them, really. I mean,
no
Australia,
one's battling.
They
with
had
Red
a pretty
Bull.
nice run. Yeah. So improvements are supposedly on the way. Does it make a difference?
And they were supposed to be here for Imola, which I think would have been a lot more effective when you're testing new upgrades because you have a lot more room to kind of play around with it, as opposed to Monaco, where the streets are just so tight and there's no mistakes that you can make whatsoever. Yeah. So when you're testing out their new upgrades, because it sounds like a pretty big upgrade. We're talking like side pods, which has been their big thing for a couple of years now. But Monaco just seems like not the greatest time to do it. I know obviously this was really unforeseen, but I was a bit shocked that they didn't wait until the next race. But I guess like if you've already done the car up with these upgrades, but I'm curious to see how they look, just because if you make one tiny mistake when you're just trying to adjust to a car, you're in the wall. And then all of a sudden, all of these pieces that you've just added to the car, donezo.
I mean, yeah, you're right, but it's not their fault. It's not Mercedes' fault that they're rolling out their new upgrades at Monaco. Like you said, it was supposed to be at Imola. Obviously, that got canceled. So, like you said, car's done. Like, we're ready to go. It's just unfortunate that we have to do this at Monaco. We're probably not going to see the full scale of these upgrades until the race after Monaco. But, I mean, it is what it is. At this point, we're just hoping that Red Bull doesn't completely sweep the season and go 1-2 every race. Like that's all we're hoping for at this point, because the car is so dominant. The Monaco GP is so awkward because it's the oldest one on the calendar, right? It's 1/3 of the Triple Crown in racing. Like I said, you can't get rid of it. You just can't. It's the glitz, it's the glamour, it's what F1 is known for. Even fans that don't know anything about Formula One, they know about the Monaco Grand Prix. So you can't get rid of it. But it is just the most boring hour and a half of your life because you're watching nothing happen.
But it's the intrigue of it. It's the views of it. It's the history of it. Like, I get that it's not the most exciting race. You said it's the most exciting qualifying, so Saturday holds a lot more weight than Sunday to me anyways, to a lot of people. But the history is so rich that when I watch it, it just feels like when I was in Monaco, I remember I was driving around on the racetrack. This was in like 2008. And the person I was with said, this is the racetrack in Formula One. And I hadn't watched F1 at all. And it still was like, holy shit, like I can't believe, and just looking around
Nick,
at what it was.
The face you're making right now?
Yeah, what is that face you're making, Nick?
You said you were driving on the track in Monaco?
Well, the streets. Like it's just driving in the street.
This face is intrigue.
Freaking lead, Katie.
Sorry.
Yeah, like what the hell? Okay, all right. Bocce ball, damn near champion. Sorry, bocce champion. Dancer, didn't know she was a dancer. Drove through the streets of Monaco. What? Are you part of the CIA? Are you?
I'm also a
operative?
Superhero.
All right, now we're really just getting.
She's a member of the Wu-Tang.
You have the album bought by Martin Shkreli? Oh, wow.
But yeah, the point was, like, even before, I was trying to just emphasize Sean's point that before I was an F1 fan, I was being driven through the streets, and then somebody brought up, this is where they drive, and I just couldn't comprehend it, looking around how beautiful, how glamorous, how amazing everything was, and this is where cars will speed through these streets. Like, it really is something that even if you're not an F1 fan, it is such a big global deal. Just like people... when you bring up the Indy 500, people know what that is. Monaco is just really, really special in its own way, not for the racing all the time. Quality's sick.
I do have to admit. So there's an Indy car race in downtown St. Petersburg here in Tampa Bay, and uh, they leave up like the curbs year round, and every year they repave the surface of the streets where they race. And occasionally, when my job takes me down there, no cars are around. Like,
Sean, this doesn't compare.
no, no, it doesn't at all. But I understand like why Katie is like, oh yeah, I was driving around the streets of Monaco. I'm like. Because when you're driving around like a roundabout and you see like racing curbs, you're like, okay, let's floor it and just like see what I can do here.
Yeah, hit the apex. Yeah,
exactly. I'm just like,
the point is not that she was driving on the track; it's the fact that she was in freaking Monaco.
It's really beautiful there.
I mean, my parents were in Monaco, Nick. We were in Tallinn, Estonia, and Finland and Germany. Like we've done.
I'm not going to stand for you bringing down Katie's. No,
I'm not bringing down Katie.
It wasn't meant to be a huge flex. It was just supposed to be relevant.
I am giving her podium. Okay.
Do you think like it's like illegal to go to Monaco or something? Like you can go to Monaco, Nick. You can go to Monaco right now.
Nick, it's not a crime to go to Monaco.
Katie, I don't even know.
Kathy and Bob went to Monaco and they walked around. They hiked up a mountain, Nick. You can go to Monaco if you want.
Part of me wonders if Katie is like a Canadian princess, like she's secretly Canadian royalty, and we just don't know. And she's too humble to tell us, like, oh yeah, by the way, my condo is actually just like my vacation home. I just needed to get away for like 6 months with me and Carl, my dog, and go skiing.
Probably.
Season's almost over, so I'm probably gonna go back to the castle. I know the castles don't exist there, but we're going to go back to the castle, and just like assume and resume my royal duties as Canadian princess of whichever region of Canada she's in that I still can't remember.
West.
Katie, be honest.
This side, left side.
Do you have either Justin Trudeau, Justin Bieber, or Drake in your phone?
All three.
Knew it. Freaking knew it. Freaking knew it. You want to know something else about Monaco, by the way? Because I was curious about this. Like the casino is the Monte Carlo casino is like the big like landmark, right? You don't need to be a millionaire to go in there. You actually like.
Trust me, I know.
When you walk in, I was reading about it. When you walk in, like you can go to the left, and that's like the high rollers, or you can go to the right, and that's like normal Joe Schmoes. And I'm like, oh. Well, there must be like some sort of wait list. No, you can just go in. You can look around. You can do whatever you want. It's a normal casino. You can go in as long as you're not monogased.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We all would. As long as you're not monogased, you can go in there. And I'm like, okay, well, surely you got to wear like a tuxedo. They're like, no, just no flip flops. Okay, this whole allure of this like grand old casino, Monte Carlo, is just like, just don't wear flip flops. You're good. Like that's what Monaco is, Nick. It's just this race that makes it look like it's the coolest thing in the world.
Everything's a lie, Sean. I've come to realize everything is a lie. But on that, actually, in that same vein, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I don't like the Americanization of F1. I know that the drivers complained about the whole intro thing in Miami, which that was way too much. But like, I think about having these random American guests be the checkered flag wavers at races. Like I think about Serena because she did it in Monaco. And like, I don't know if Serena knows anything about F1 or if she's into F1 or not, but why do we have to put an American there? Why can't this be somebody from somewhere else? You know what I mean? Like, stop forcing our country on the world. This is your sport that we're happy to be a part of and enjoy, but like, it doesn't need to be about us.
Well, I don't think Serena, like, I don't think that was us pushing America onto F1. Like,
but it's happened so many other times. Like Serena,
I get that, but like, I get that. But Serena Williams is a global sports icon.
Yeah,
and tennis is much bigger in Europe than it is here in the States. While Serena is absolutely a GOAT of American athletes, she's bigger in Europe than she even is here. So I think that like even in Monaco, like the French fans, the Monegasque fans, the Italian fans that were there, they know Serena even more and better than we do because they play more tennis than we do. So I'm not to nitpick you there, Nick, but I understand what you're saying. Like, yes, like Miami and Austin, and then just wait for Vegas, baby. Freaking Mark Davis is going to be out there waving the flag. Tom Brady's going to be waving the flag. It's going to be fun, man. But I get your point. But I think Monaco, like you said, Katie, it still holds that kind of holy place in racing. It'll never go away, and I'll still watch it.
I'll watch it and I'll love it. People think it's boring, but I still think it's so fascinating to watch these gigantic, fast cars going through those crazy tight corners.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we talked about. The racing isn't as good. There's no almost impossible to overtake, which I went back and I watched the last few weeks because we've had no F1 and I've been really bored. And I forgot about the overtake that Schumacher had on Nikita Mazepin. Remember when he was randomly in F1 for that short period? But he overtook his own teammate in Monaco, and I think that's just really iconic.
It was a great way to send Mazepin out, or at least a highlight on his very short career, no doubt. Let's save the De Vries thing for later since there wasn't a race last week. Let's go to the final topic, which is Honda is back in F1. You know, they had to get out because of environmental concerns, and they wanted to allocate their resources somewhere else, but really they just wanted to split with Red Bull. Do I sound like a scorn lover? Yeah, because they're not coming back with Red Bull. They're going to Aston Martin, and I'm pissed.
Nick
I got stuck with
scorned.
Ford. I got stuck with Ford.
Hey, speaking of Americanization, what's your problem with Ford, man? That's an American company.
It's Sean, you know the old saying. What is Ford? What's the acronym stand for?
I don't know, actually.
Found on road dead.
I never heard
Fixed
that before.
or repaired daily.
You haven't heard these, Sean?
No, I actually haven't. No.
Their last venture in F1 wasn't very successful either.
The last Ford my family ever had was like a 1992 Ford Bronco. Like that was it. It was the last, I think, American car my company, my family ever had.
My family.
OJ?
My family company, my corporation ever had.
Oh yeah, it's Berry Enterprises.
I've had a Subaru, a Mazda, and a Honda. So all foreign cars for me. I drive a foreign. That's what I tell people.
Oh yeah, that's you and your Bugatti.
I don't know. It seems like Honda has a love-hate relationship with F1. They're in, they're out, they're hot, they're cold. There was that whole McLaren debacle back in the mid-2010s where Fernando Alonso like literally called out on radio and said, this is a GP2 engine. But clearly they've gotten their you-know-what together, as shown with that the last two championships with Red Bull. But I guess you never know what they're going to come back with, especially in 2026. So this is when Honda's going to come back in 2026. There's going to be not just a budget cap on teams, but a budget cap on engine suppliers. So all the engine suppliers will be on a level playing field as well. So if anything, I would be a little worried if I'm an Aston Martin fan because Honda's up and down. They have produced probably two of the greatest engines in F1 history with the 1980s McLaren and then this, early 2020s Red Bull. After that, their history is a little rocky.
And what else is new in 2026?
We're going to have Audi. We're going to have Porsche.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess at that point, all the cool car manufacturers are in.
My question, though, is Katie, in 2026, where's Baby Stroll going to be? Because if Honda is attaching itself to Aston Martin, they are bringing Yuki Tsunoda with them. Or someone from Japan with them.
It might not be Yuki.
It
might be Yuki.
Yuki's on the up. Yuki has done really well this year. At this point, I think Yuki will be in this sport for a couple of years, at least till 2026. I think he'll at least make it to that point. So it's probably Yuki. And if Fernando isn't retiring at that point, where's Baby Stroll? Because are you really going to go into a season with Lance Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda?
Well, I've talked about it again and again. He's Lawrence's second favorite son. And as long as Fernando's in the sport, I say it's going to be Fernando and Yuki, and Lance Stroll's going to be working in the factory somewhere.
Son, I'm very proud of you, but fuck off.
I love you, but you are not serious people. I get such a big Roman Roy and Logan Roy vibe between Lawrence and Lance.
That's why I said F off right there, because I'm just like, yep, I am channeling my inner Logan Roy right there.
But I do get a bit.
I'm very proud of you. I think I do a good Lawrence Stroll.
I think
kind
of
feels like more Kendall than Roman even.
See, I get a bit of the like shifty, little sketchy, But then I do like to ask myself the question, and I think it should be a running segment on the pod. Does Lance Stroll have that dog in him? Because I brought it up first episode where I thought maybe he did when he broke his wrist, and then he was driving 10 minutes later. Since then, it hasn't been so good. He's been letting the team down a little bit, but That could just be a running question we can ask. I ask myself that all the time.
This can be a running question we ask on the podcast every week. It'll take 10 seconds. Does Lance Stroll have that dog in him? This week the answer is no.
Oh, yeah. Dog watch. Dog watch. Lance Stroll every week. Dog watch. All right. We'll be keeping an eye out for Lance Stroll and the dog watch. Come back next week when we recap the race in Monaco. Let's wrap this thing up.
Are we going to do our predictions for Monaco or no?
Yeah, let's do it. Predictions, and then we wrap this thing up.
Sean, what's your podium?
My podium is Checo, Max, Charles. He's going to get on the podium in his home race. Now that I've said that, he's probably going to crash out in qualifying. And again, his gearbox won't work, so he won't even make it to the starting lineup. But I would love to see Charles on his home podium. It just means more in Monaco. And the fact that if you don't realize, Monaco, it's not just a tiny country. It has a population of 39,000. Okay? My second job in TV was in a town of 44,000. That was market 172 in this country. Monaco is smaller than that. That's a country. And the fact that this kid, he's like a man now, but the fact that this guy has made it from a town of 39,000 to race the highest level of motorsports, I would like to see him at least on a step at his home race because they would go crazy for him.
It's a tax-friendly group, by the way. Tax-friendly market,
Very tax-friendly.
Yeah, All right,
Nick?
Katie. No, what? All right. Max is going to come out on top, not because I'm biased, but just because that's the obvious choice.
The king of the streets, though, man.
I would like Charles to live up to Sean's prediction, but he is cursed. Okay, it's whether it's Ferrari's problems or his own.
He
and
finished
especially
fourth
at Monaco.
last year.
Yeah, and the year before his gearbox failed because he crashed in quali. Like I just don't trust him. I wonder when that experiment is going to end. As crazy as it sounds, like Sainz and him, I could see a whole new Ferrari lineup before long. It's just not producing. It's team-wide failure. So I can't hitch my wagon to that. We're going to go Max. We're going to go Fernando. And then we're going to go Lewis Hamilton.
Love that. Confidence in the upgrades.
Yes.
You love to see that.
Yes.
Katie?
Did you guys see, little asterisk, did you guys see the highlights of Carlos and Charles playing soccer?
I saw some videos, but I kind of scrolled past.
Oh, okay. It's worth a watch. It was really, really funny. Yeah. All listeners and watchers, go give that a watch because it was really epic. And then Charles posted this screenshot of him just like head, neck, and shoulder in the ground. And he said, like, I'm an elite athlete or something. It was really funny.
That's great.
And yeah, Carlos had this amazing pass over to Charles, and then he just awful shot. And then Carlos ran up and like gymnast grabbed onto the soccer post. Like it was all just really, and I think Pierre was there. Pierre
Really
Gasly.
quick.
It was all really
quick.
interesting.
If there was a driver you would like want to go out like on a night out on the town with, I don't know why, but I feel like my driver would be Charles Leclerc. I don't know why. Like because he just seems like one of the more down to earth guys that like I could just kind of have a fun time with. Like he makes fun of himself, but like at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't know why, but like I've gotten that vibe from him. It wouldn't be Lando because he's awkward as all hell. Lewis, I feel like would just talk about himself the entire time. Come on.
No.
Guys, I'm so grateful to be here tonight. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful.
Speaking gratitude isn't the same as talking about yourself, Sean.
Yeah, but he makes it that awkward kind of gratitude.
I have an easy
Max
pick
is
for
just Max is just
No,
weird.
We're not going to run through all the drivers. We're not.
I'm just saying mine would be Charles Leclerc. I don't know why. Mine would just be Charles Leclerc.
Mine's Daniel Ricciardo. I know he's reserved,
but he's not on the grid.
Yeah, he's not on the grid. That doesn't count.
He's not 120, Nick.
Mine would be Fernando.
Yeah, it's Fernando Alonso. Like
Charles would be sweet to go to a sporting event with, hang out. I think you're right. I think he's a down-to-earth guy. He's an amazing musician. He's so multi-layered and talented. And I just think he's so interesting. But in terms of partying, I want to party with Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, like it would be high class.
He's
he would
40.
show me like
he's
going
to go to bed at like 10 p.m.
He's a man. He's 40.
Don't come to them. Come at me. I'm a man. I've already retired once.
Unless he's bringing Taylor, I don't care.
Some of us are getting closer to 40, and I'm still really fun.
Yeah, I'm
John.
trying to be cultured, Sean. I'm not trying to hang out with Charles and his. All right. I'm done with this. Katie, did we get your predictions? Come on.
No.
Okay, so I've got some spicy ones. Number 1, Fernando Alonso. Number 2, Checo. Number 3, Charles.
Oh,
He makes it on the podium in Monaco.
All right, I
Oh my
like
God.
this.
I like the way you delivered that. I don't know about
Nick,
this.
we need you, Nick, and this. You should have been doing this already. Like, I don't know why you weren't. You should be like writing down on screen our predictions, and you didn't. Kind of, mad at you right now, but that's okay. We can do it next time. There's room for growth, Nick. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just.
It's much worse.
All right, real quick, guys. Give me your predictions for something that's going to happen during the race.
I think
Charles is gonna wreck. There you go.
No, don't put that out there.
Don't you put that evil on me.
Safest bet in sports. I don't bet though. I'm not allowed to.
I've got a crazy prediction. Nick DeVries is gonna fire it right into the wall multiple times.
Yeah.
The new goat Tiffy. My prediction is somehow, some way, a Williams will finish top.
Yeah,
6.
I was thinking Logan Sargent. Let's go.
A Williams will finish top 6. Some way, somehow, a Williams will finish top 6.
Yeah,
It's gonna be Albon, but I love
No,
that.
I think it'll be Albon, but I'm just like, I think Williams could do something this. I don't know why.
Cool.
I'm getting because they're savvy. They're weird with their tire rotations, and they're like good with their pit stops. Like they can play this perfectly. Give them a red flag or a yellow flag, and they can wind up in double points or top 6. So,
But they shine
Williams,
with their straight line speed. That's where they kind of lose me. Like I see it coming for them, but because so much of their strength is that straight line, and in Monaco you just virtually don't have that.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if there's a red flag and a yellow flag, and they can just beat some people with pit stops, and like they get the right strategy, which they're tending to do right now, just wait, just maybe something could happen.
Sean, you
It's
delivered
Monaco,
like
it's crazy.
Santa Claus. You delivered like Santa Claus on Christmas with that. I was very happy to hear that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, we ready to wrap this up here?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this was
All
supposed
right.
to be a short podcast. We're already at
Time
hours,
for
2
hate
minutes.
it or love it. What's your hate, folks?
I'll go first. My hate
Keep it brief.
is.
Sean, take your time.
Thanks, Nick.
Take it for a walk.
Thank you, Katie. My hate is
30 seconds to break.
at 31 years. I don't even want to go anymore. At
20.
31 years of age, the heroes that we grew
threw
up
him
with
off.
in sports, they're fading. They're starting to go away.
Oh, don't make this about LeBron.
It's gonna be
There-
about
He's,
LeBron.
all right,
It's
first
not
off, Sean, no, he's not retiring.
No,
He's not. This is a leverage play, but I have
Look.
already come to this conclusion. All right, now go. Just go ahead. Just get it over with.
I'm not talking about LeBron retiring. I'm talking about the fact that we only have a couple of years maybe to watch him left.
Oh yeah.
We all watched Tom Brady retire. For me, it was Ben Roethlisberger. We watched him retire. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. For me, as a Pittsburgh fan, only have a couple of years left. LeBron James, who I believe is actually the greatest basketball player of all time. He is soon to retire, whether it be this offseason, the next, or the one after that. The heroes that I grew up with, they are starting to fade quickly. And when you're 31, you don't get new. I'm not going to attach myself to Luka or
Oh, we're losing Sean.
we're losing Nick too. Something happened there.
Oh, we were losing you. You weren't attaching yourself to anyone. You just left.
Did I cut out?
Not even to his Ethernet cord.
Oh man, that was a good. I was on a good rant
What's
there.
funny
This
is in post, this will all be there because it's
I'm just
locally
saying-
recording.
at 31, you don't attach yourself to someone new. Like your heroes are gone. Once your heroes that you grew up with are gone, they're gone. Like I'm not going from Ichiro to Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani. It's just I'm an adult now. I live with it. I watch the sport. I still love all the sports, but that childhood love that you had for when you fell in love with the sports, watching your heroes, that's gone, or it's going to go very soon. And I hate that.
I don't like getting old either. But I will
Basically,
tell
I
you
just said, yeah, I don't like getting old.
yeah. I've already accepted I'm going to cry when LeBron retires. I've watched him, as you guys know, since he was a freshman in high school. That I will never have that type of connection with an athlete ever again.
I really
Ever.
wasn't making it about LeBron, but like I was watching a game that when I was watching them get swept, that kind of came to my mind. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember, Nick. I'm gonna remember when we went to Rockneys freshman year and watched the Cavs take on LeBron and the Heat for that first time. I'm gonna remember that because like LeBron was larger than life, and all of these other guys, Sidney Crosby, Ovi, just for me when I was a kid, like I loved Ichiro Suzuki. He was my favorite. Like those guys were larger than life, and now that they are all retiring, it's kind of sad a little bit.
Father Time slows down for no one, not even Tom Brady. He eventually gives in too. Katie, what's your hate?
I do hear what you're saying, Sean. I fully agree with you. Although because I'm much, much older than both of you, I went through this 12 years ago.
You're not that much older. Anyway,
43?
I'm not getting sidetracked. We're getting across the finish line.
My hate is I've got a bit of a spicy situation that hopefully by next podcast we've sorted out. But I'm supposed to be in Nashville from June 3rd to 10th,
okay.
and I'm very, very excited about that. I lived in Nashville. I worked for the Preds. I haven't been back since December 2019, right before the pandemic. And it's a big galvanized meetup, and I'm really, really excited about it. But I had to renew my passport because my water bottle spilled very gently onto it, and my photo got messed up. So...
Probably already pretty messed up.
So I had to do a big panicked drive to Calgary and go to the passport office because we had this big government strike. So our passport services were stopped for about 3 weeks. So when I discovered it, I had to wait for it. Nick is taking off his headphones. He's done with this.
No, I hear something in the wall. I hear
Oh.
something on the wall, and I was just making sure. I don't know. New surroundings. I'm still not completely comfortable. Continue.
Anyways, long story short, I had to wait for the strike to end before I renewed my passport. I had to make a panic trip to Calgary. And there's a chance that it won't come in time because it's still not here. And it was supposed to be here on May 18th. And then things are very backed up. And at the office, they just said, we don't know when it's going to be. And I'm like, sick. Cool. No doubt. So
Katie
we all
might
have
cross the
to
border illegally.
we all have to manifest that my passport comes in. And Club Fantasy FFL just chimed in and they said, LFG, enjoy the experience, Katie. And they've actually been a really big part of me being able to go. I was awarded a scholarship by them, and I'm very grateful for that in order to attend the event. So it's very lovely that they're tuning in today. Hello, Joshua. Thank you. But we all have to group manifest that my passport comes in time because
Katie,
we didn't expect this happening.
Fix. I have a simple fix for this. This is all part of the ploy. This is all part of her deep cover, Sean. She doesn't have a passport issue. She's just telling us this so that we, again, ignore the fact that she's Canadian royalty.
Well, when you're royalty, you don't need a passport.
She's gonna show up to TSA, or you're not driving, are you?
No, she's taking the PJ straight to Nashville.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
G6,
She'll be like, don't
there.
you know who I am?
She'll take a
Do you
PJ
know?
to Nashville, then take a helicopter to the meetup.
Do you even
in
know
true
about
Logan
me?
Roy fashion?
Exactly. See,
You
you
didn't
guys get
know.
it. So this was all just a big farce. I don't actually own a passport. I'm Canadian royalty.
Yeah.
It's a great day for Canada and therefore the world.
Well, in all seriousness, fingers crossed.
Yes,
And
I
enjoy.
have to make it there.
You're going. You're gonna have a blast.
Nick,
I
what's
will.
your
I'm
hate?
very excited.
Hates. What is my hate? My hate is like stuff you gotta do around the house, man. Every day, man. I gotta.
Just doesn't end.
Yeah. My hate's old weed whacker engines that.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you have a yard and do you have to mow it?
It's very tiny. I've been through a whole thing. I don't even want to get into it. Like, my dad gave me an old weed whacker that had clearly been bone dry for at least a few years, and I went and got some fuel, and it started for like 3 seconds. It was just it was one thing or another. And this is a nice, like, good, like, this is not a house that needed a lot of work. It's just doing that stuff is a lot of work on a day-to-day
I've already
basis.
decided, Nick, when I buy a house eventually, which hopefully will be in the next couple of years, I'm not doing yard work. Ain't happening. I hate yard work. I absolutely hate it. And the good thing about Florida is you only need to do yard work half of the year, because the other half of the year it doesn't rain and your yard is just dead. So the other half of the year it's a monsoon, so you have to mow your grass like 3 times a week. I'm paying someone to do that. Nope, not doing it.
I take pride in that. I actually find it cathartic. It's just that, like, I just have so much still to do. The moving process still. The end of the moving process.
My boss, I'm not kidding you, watches videos of people mowing the grass.
All right, we're going
his
on to
free
love
time.
it. What's your love? What's your
Jesus.
love?
He's like, this is my porn, man.
Oh my God.
I'm
Well,
deeply uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, I mean, people
I've seen
wonder.
him doing it. He's just watching people cut grass. That's
Yeah,
his
those
thing.
lines. Those
He
lines
loves
are
it.
so
Oh, he
perfect.
loves those crisp
Just
lines,
dudes
man.
being dudes, you know.
Well,
he
Actually, I'm a
volunteers-
woman and I love yard work.
He
Yeah, see?
volunteers
Thank you,
his time
Katie.
to take care of the local high school softball field. Like, that's his thing. He just loves cutting the grass, man. He's gonna kill me now that I said this.
I actually support him. I think I like doing yard work. It's just
It's so wholesome though, because I'll look over and he's just like taking a break, just like sitting back in the chair, watching someone cut grass on YouTube.
that's
Like, you go, man, you go.
He's
People
looking up
are
new
wild.
strategies. That's his love. What's your love, Sean?
My love, Ted Lasso season 3. Go watch it. It's just I've laughed, I've cried. The hairs on my arms still haven't gone down. And I watched episode 11 last night. Can't wait for the season finale. Ted Lasso season 3. Go watch it.
Katie.
I was gonna say the same thing. I hate that it's television, but mine's Succession. I love
Oh.
Succession.
Ooh, I'm not caught
I'm
up.
so sad. It's ending next week. It's so good. For anyone
not
that
caught
hasn't
up.
seen it, I just think it's one of the best shows ever created. It's like probably my second favorite behind Breaking Bad. And Ted Lasso's in my top 3 too. But
okay.
it's number
Episode 3 of this season. Best episode of television I've ever seen in my life.
which one was episode 3? Was that Connor's wedding?
Yes.
Yes.
Spoilers.
Without giving away spoilers. Well, that's
Connor
literally the
got
title.
married.
The title of the episode is Connor's wedding. Phenomenal.
I kind of had like someone's password for HBO Max, and now that it's now Max, I don't know.
Leave
if
this
I'll be
part out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to watch it anymore.
Sean,
So
password sharing? What's that? I
What?
didn't hear
No,
anything.
I have Max. What? Okay, Nick.
Well,
What you
all
got?
right. Let's keep the TV theme then. I was gonna say, actually, I don't even know what the hell I was gonna say. Oh, I love family because my little sister moved back from Florida to Cleveland. Bridget's
that's
looking
exciting.
Bridget just opened the door and gave me this look.
I'm
because
with
we've
you,
been on
Bridget.
the-
Like that's a
because
cop out.
No,
That's
no,
a
no,
cop
no.
out.
She gave me this look because we've been on the podcast for this long. Every time we're done, she's always like, "You guys need to be shorter," and I'm like, "I try," and especially this episode.
Bridget, you're welcome to
Damn it, I've
be our
tried.
producer. Like, it's just,
So she likes to give me hell, and she just happened to walk by in that exact moment. So I love that my little sister moved back because we get to spend time. She literally lives she lives in Tremont, Sean, like right down the road.
Nice.
So
That's so
I've
amazing.
never
Bridget,
met your sisters except for your older sister, but I've never met your sister.
yeah, you'll probably meet them.
Eventually,
Bridget even ran into her at Walmart today, for example.
That's so cute.
That's how close they are. But my real love that I was gonna choose to keep in line with the TV theme, that Tupac series on Hulu. I haven't even watched it its entirety. I've kind of watched bits and pieces.
It's
It's
like
called
Dear Mama or something
Dear
like that?
Mama. Is phenomenal. Like fantastic. I haven't watched it front to back, but just in the parts that I've seen, fantastic. Like I feel like Tupac's career wasn't properly documented because, the timing of when it happened, the East Coast, West Coast rivalry, his death, it was, I think, minimized and just summarized too briefly without getting into the background of his family and everything else. That's fantastic. The cinematography, it's just awesome. Like it's really cool for me as a hip hop junkie, but like it's awesome. Go watch that.
I'd love to watch. We don't have Hulu in Canada. You guys block it from us.
No, I don't block it.
You two individually do.
No, you know what? Hulu one time came after me. A headhunter came after me for a job way back in the day that I was certainly not qualified for, and then ghosted me. So I don't even know why I have Hulu. I don't know.
For this series, that's why
it's a true story, but I actually enjoy having Hulu. It's quite great. Big B says get a VPN, Katie. So yeah,
that's what I said.
Thanks, Big B.
All right, let's get across the damn finish line. All right, this has been episode 4. I love doing this podcast with you, and
so do I.
This was a very enjoyable podcast.
We learned so many new things. Like Katie's been to Monaco, and Katie is almost a bocce ball national champion.
And Sean knows how to
the second largest country in the world.
It's bocce.
Sorry, yes, she's almost bocce champion. This has been episode 4 of the Gridiron Podcast. Thanks for tuning along. Thanks to everyone that commented along the way. For Nick Shook and Katie Caldwell, I'm Sean Barry. And as always, live life in the fast lane.
God, that was so sharp.
So sharp.